In Ephesians chapter 1, verses 13 through 14, it says, "In him, you also, when you heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, and believed in him, were sealed with the promised Holy Spirit, who is the guarantee of our inheritance until we acquire possession of it to the praise of his glory." Friends, our assurance, our confidence that we have, that we are saved, comes from the fact that the Holy Spirit has sealed us. It's that inner testimony that understands that we have salvation, that we've given our life to Christ. And it's that inner witness of the Holy Spirit as evidenced by the regeneration of our life, as we begin to live life differently, as we begin to respond in ways that are different than before we met Christ. Regeneration is that inner transformation, and it takes place as the old life is traded for the new, as we said in the call to worship. We're a new creation. And the only way that we become a new creation is when we begin to live life in the Spirit. And believers are called to live a life in the Spirit rather than in the flesh. And the Holy Spirit is at work reshaping our values, reshaping what we believe, is at work reshaping our character. And this requires that we cooperate with the work that God is doing in our life through the Holy Spirit. Life in the Spirit is new territory for a lot of believers because it feels a little mystical, right? It feels a little different to talk about living life in the Spirit. And in those moments, we maybe want to resist some of that activity. Life in the Spirit comes with new desires. And suddenly we have a sense that we want to live life differently because of God's work in our life. The believer is forced to examine their life and decide whether or not they will embrace this new life. And the question all of us need to answer this morning is, will we follow the Spirit or will we silence the Spirit? Because I think for a lot of us, we have that sense in our heart and in our mind of when God is moving, but we like to dismiss it. I found this nifty feature on my phone recently. It's called Focus. Like if you drag your finger over, you can hit that focus button, and it shuts off all of the social media, shuts off all of the email, all the text messaging, and you can just focus for a little bit. And so this is great because every now and then when I'm writing and doing some work, other stuff pops in. And when that other stuff pops in, it takes me several minutes to get back to what I was doing, right? Because you have a train of thought, and then that bubble comes in, and it's like, hey, look at this. It's shiny and different and new. And so you're like, oh, I'll click on that quick, and I'll come back to what I was doing. But then you forgot where you're at, right? And so this focus feature has been awesome because I can shut everything down for a bit and just focus, and then come back. And then when you take the focus off, all of a sudden all these things pour in. You're like, okay, there's more work to do, more things to be had. But it allows you to just focus for a bit. And in our faith, it's difficult for us to focus. It's difficult for us to slow down enough and to hear God's voice and to get accustomed to hearing God's activity in our life through the Holy Spirit. To follow his leading. You see, the Holy Spirit is at work in our heart and in our lives and trying to grow our faith. However, the Holy Spirit is not going to force himself on us.